Jimmy, things are different now a little bit than maybe when you started. A lot of remote work happening. I know you're working on a remote project right now. What are the differences for a negotiation process when you're dealing with remote projects versus when you're able to go and knock on the door?
Well, I'd say the biggest thing is, especially with the older mineral owners, okay, that still live on the property where the minerals are, so forth. Some of those guys really like to have, you know, somebody knocking on the door. And although I may be remote, we do have the ability to have people going out and knocking on those doors, and that's very important, especially in certain areas. Now you do come into plays where, like in Shelby County, for example, a lot of the people don't live out there. They live in Dallas or Houston or in Shreveport, or Lafayette. They live somewhere other than the Piney Woods. And those guys are, they're kind of used to that. People that don't live on the tracks anymore have become accustomed to it over the years, I guess. And technology has made that wonderful. Back when I started, it was a much different time. You still went to the courthouse. You still went to the graveyards looking for people, or you went to the college to use their ancestry account. You put it SFA to use ancestry. Now I just set it my computer and dig into it. Having the ability to email everything back and forth is super important for these people. And most people do have email. You still run across those that don't, but most people do. And that has really helped a lot. And it has allowed more of this remote work. Now you get areas like we're dealing with in the Northeast right now that's still remote areas, and a lot of people live there. You can't get away from having somebody on the ground knocking on doors. Even in the smallest of tracts to the largest of tracts, you still have to have somebody out there knocking on doors because they're not going to answer your phone call. In fact, so many calls today, when you make them, they go straight to voicemail because their phone's not even ringing. It's an unknown number, so it goes straight to voicemail. And then if they listen to their voicemail, then they might hear it. Most people don't listen to their voicemails, from my experience with it anymore, because you don't get a call back. That's when you start hammering them with letters and sending a FedEx to them, getting them to sign for something. So, if you got the right address. I mean, it's, a lot of different approaches to that. But for those people that don't live on tracks, it's very easy. For those that do, that are older, it's not as easy. You still got to have boots on the ground. Still have
Yeah.
to have that.
Jimmy,
Um,
you mentioned ancestry. Um, what are some of the, we talked about studying your lease, being informed. What are some of the other just easy wins, things that a leasing, if you're going to get into a leasing project, what accounts do you need to have? What helps? Or some of the tools for finding people? And you don't have to give away the secret sauce if you got any sneaky Jimmy secrets. But I mean,
Honestly, Ancestry is probably my favorite tool. I mean, I use that more than anything. Now, it's not real good for current contact information, although it does have that resource there. It's not the best for that. But what it is, that's your people finder, basically. If I can't get in touch with somebody, I'm turning to Ancestry, Google. I mean, everything I can imagine. If I know they're in a certain area, I go to in the Northeast, it'd be called the auditor site here, the tax assessor sites. Start putting in their name, see what you can find. She would be amazed what Google holds. Just Googling somebody's name and the town that their last address was in, you never know what you're going to find. I mean, on a current project, we had a guy that was, he just wouldn't lease. It's like, how can you not lease that? Well, I was doing some digging not long ago, and I found out that, you know, he's out there and he's just really against oil and gas leasing. And there's articles after articles in papers about it. I mean, he's just one of those guys that does not like it. And that's okay. That's up to you. If that's your choice, that's your minerals. You get to do what you want with them. But,
but that information's critical, because you have to convey that to your client. Why can't we get this lease? Well, here's 6
right.
articles where, where he bashed the industry that you're in. So don't know what to tell you. It is what
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
absolutely. And I mean, you could try all different kinds of things, but once you find that information, whether it's that or, a different article about something else, at least you can kind of change your approach to
Yeah.
address that way. That goes back to the education of things, and you just really want to learn all you can about the area, the people that you're leasing, and what the common issues are. Have there been problems in the past with leasing out there? Did the operators in the past have issues with their well sites? Were there environmental problems, things of that nature? And if you can address those right out of the box, it makes a difference in the long run. Um, to me, that's kind of one of the best ways to do it. And then changing your buyer. If you got a guy that's just shutting this buyer down, you put another buyer on it immediately and try that. And if that doesn't work, put another buyer on it immediately. And if that doesn't work, you might have to go yourself.
Yeah.